They laughed when Elena Vasquez was captured, just a woman weak and alone. Malik Haqquani, ruthless warlord, thought she'd break. But he didn't see the scars hidden beneath her silence. He didn't know she memorized his roots, stole his codes, and turned his men against him. Now she's back, and this time she's not escaping. She's hunting. Stick around because the man who mocked her fate is about to face it. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time you found this video. Don't miss out on future content by subscribing. Now, through my binoculars, the morning sun glints off the American convoy snaking through the Hindu Kush. I, Taliban Commander Malik Haqquani, feel power surge through my veins as I grip my wooden prayer beads, their familiar grooves worn smooth by years of righteous warfare. My men are perfectly positioned, the IEDs precisely where they need to be. This female combat medic won't escape Allah's judgment today. Commander Haqquani. The convoy approaches the kill zone. My lieutenant whispers. I silence him with a raised hand, savoring this moment of absolute control. Through the lens, I focus on their lead vehicle, knowing she rides inside. Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez, the infidel who dares to play warrior in our lands. The explosion transforms the peaceful mountain morning into chaos. The blast wave rocks even our distant position, and I allow myself a smile as the vehicle cartwheels through the air. But something is wrong. Instead of the clean kill I orchestrated, I watch in growing disbelief as her body is thrown like a rag doll into the deep ravine. Find her! I roar, my voice echoing across the valley. I want confirmation. The prayer beads click faster between my fingers as my men scramble down the treacherous slopes. Minutes stretch into hours. The reports trickle in each one, stoking my rage. No body found. My lieutenant approaches cautiously. Commander Haqquani, a video of the ambush is already spreading online. Sir, your convoy ambush is trending. I snatch his phone, watching the shaky footage captured by one of my men. The blast, the chaos, the failed execution of my perfect plan, all there for the world to see. In the gathering dusk, I stand at the ravine's edge, prayer beads clutched tight enough to leave impressions in my palm. How could she survive? No one survives my ambushes. A cold wind whistles through the peaks, carrying whispers of doubt I've never known before. That night in my tent, I review the intelligence files on Vasquez. Combat medic, decorated soldier known for impossible rescues under fire. My fingers trace the words on the page as a memory surfaces. My father's voice from long ago. Beware the enemy who refuses to die, my son. They become legend. The prayer beads feel heavier now as I roll them between my fingers. For the first time in years, my nightly prayers stick in my throat. In the darkness, I wonder, have you ever felt absolute certainty slip through your fingers like sand? Have you watched your perfect plan shatter against an enemy's impossible survival? Share your thoughts with Conspark Convoy Ambush. Has fate ever turned your victory into doubt? Looking at the map of these mountains, I know so intimately I make a silent vow. This is not over. I am Commander Malik Haqquani, and no one escapes my judgment. But deep in my gut, a new sensation takes root. The first tendril of fear that perhaps, just perhaps, I have unleashed something beyond my control. The wind howls outside my tent, and my prayer beads click rhythmically in the darkness. Somewhere out there in my mountains, an enemy refuses to die. And for the first time, I question whether these peaks will be her grave or mine. Will my power survive this challenge? The question echoes in my mind as I plan the hunt to come. But that cold tendril of doubt whispers another question I dare not voice. What if, in trying to execute Allah's judgment, I have instead awakened his wrath? Commander Malik Haqquani grips his prayer beads tighter, the wooden spheres almost burning against his palm as he paces the dimly lit cave that serves as his command center. The whispers have already started among his men, hushed conversations that fall silent when he approaches. 3 weeks have passed since Staff Sergeant Vasquez's convoy slipped through his grasp, and each day without her capture or confirmation of death feels like a personal betrayal from Allah himself. "Commander, we have new reports." His Lieutenant Karim enters with downcast eyes. The village of Gulkar. They say a woman matching her description received medical supplies 2 days ago. Malik Haqquani hurls his cup of tea against the cave wall, the ceramic shattering like his composure. His reputation, built over 15 years of iron-fisted control over this region, now teeters on the edge because of one stubborn American woman who refuses to die. He remembers his father's words from childhood. "A commander who cannot kill a wounded deer is no commander at all." The prayer beads click rhythmically as he thumbs through them, a habit that once brought comfort, but now only measures his mounting anxiety. Reports from his network of informants paint an infuriating picture. Local families offering shelter, tribal elders turning blind eyes, even some of his own fighters expressing reluctant admiration for her resilience. Each act of aid is a direct challenge to his authority, a crack in the foundation of fear he's spent years building. The Americans have increased their search patterns. Karim continues unfolding a map marked with helicopter routes. "They're adapting to our movements, Commander. Some of the younger fighters whisper that Allah himself must be protecting her." These words strike deeper than any bullet could. Haqquani has always understood power through the lens of absolute control, the way his father taught him, the way he's taught his men. But now, watching his carefully constructed world of authority begin to unravel, he recognizes a bitter truth. His power has always depended on others' fear, and fear is proving more fragile than he imagined. The sound of distant helicopter rotors echoes through the cave system, and Haqquani finds himself flinching, him who has never flinched at anything in his life. His fingers trace the inscription on his father's ring, worn smooth by years of similar worried gestures. "Power flows from Allah alone." The irony tastes bitter in his mouth. Studies he once dismissed from captured American intelligence reports surface in his mind. Analyses of insurgency dynamics, how local support can shift like desert sands when authority shows weakness. He remembers laughing at these reports, but now their words haunt him. Sustainable control requires more than fear. "Commander." Karim speaks again, more hesitant now. "There's something else. Some of the men have been speaking with their families in the valley. They say if Allah spares an enemy so clearly, perhaps we should..." Silence. Malik Haqquani's roar echoes through the cave, but even he hears the edge of desperation in it. The prayer beads clatter to the ground, scattering like his certainties. Standing alone later that night, watching the searchlights of American helicopters sweep the valleys below, Malik Haqquani confronts an uncomfortable reality. His power, which he thought as solid as the mountains themselves, rests on shifting foundations of fear and absolute control. Every minute Sergeant Vasquez survives erodes that foundation, further creating hairline fractures in his authority that spread like cracks in dry earth. Have you ever watched your life's work crumble piece by piece because of something you couldn't control? Drop one in the comments if you felt your world shake beneath your feet. In the cold mountain air, Malik Haqquani retrieves his prayer beads from the cave floor, each bead feeling heavier than before. His father's voice echoes from the past. A true leader never shows doubt. But doubt has already taken root, growing like the poppies that blanket these mountains in spring. Beautiful and deadly all at once. The next helicopter pass illuminates his shadow against the cave wall, and for a moment it looks smaller than he remembers. Commander Haqquani, who has never questioned his path before, finds himself wondering if the strength he's always prized might be his greatest weakness. Using his prayer beads as a desperate anchor, Taliban Commander Haqquani paces the dimly lit command room of his mountain hideout, his authority crumbling like the dust-covered walls around him. The whispers have become a deafening roar. How could he, the feared commander of the region, let a single injured American woman slip through his grasp and wreak such devastating havoc? His trusted lieutenant enters, head bowed low. Commander Haqquani, the Ghazni village elders refuse to meet. They say... The man hesitates, fear evident in his voice. They say harboring us brings American bombs. Malik Haqquani's grip tightens on his prayer beads until his knuckles turn white. The sound of distant artillery fire makes him flinch, each explosion a reminder of Staff Sergeant Vasquez's growing impact. His men used to stand straighter in his presence. Now they avert their eyes, their respect replaced by doubt. "Show me the latest reports!" He demands, though his voice lacks its usual command. The papers tremble in his hands as he reads. 3 weapons caches discovered by American forces in the past week. Locations only he and his inner circle knew. His mind races. How could she have learned this? Who among his trusted few has betrayed him? The radio crackles with another devastating update. American Special Forces spotted near Wardak. They know our routes now. The prayer beads slip through his fingers, clattering against the floor like falling dominoes. In the shadows of the room, he sees his men exchange glances. Once, such disrespect would have meant severe punishment. Now, he cannot afford to lose a single fighter. "Commander," a young fighter speaks up, unprecedented in its boldness. "Perhaps we should relocate our remaining caches before..." Silence. Malik Haqquani roars, but the echoes of his voice sound hollow even to his own ears. The fighter doesn't cower as he should. Instead, he stands his ground, supported by the silent nods of others. Outside, the rhythmic thump of helicopter rotors grows closer. Malik Haqquani rushes to the window, prayer beads forgotten on the floor. American Blackhawks circle in the distance like vultures hunting. Each pass seems to shrink the territory he once ruled absolutely. His radio operator bursts in, face ashen. "Commander, our spotters report the American woman was seen alive in Kabul. She's already briefed their command. They know everything, our safe houses, our supply lines, our..." Malik Haqquani slams his fist against the wall, cutting off the report. But he cannot silence the truth. His iron grip on the region is slipping. Villages that once feared him now whisper about the unkillable American woman who escaped his best fighters. Each day brings news of another ally turning their backs. Another cache discovered another safe house compromised. In the privacy of his quarters that night, Malik Haqquani retrieves his dropped prayer beads, fingers trembling as he counts them. "How?" he whispers to the darkness. "How does one wounded infidel woman destroy everything I've built?" The distant artillery provides his only answer, each explosion marking another piece of his empire falling away. Type "Empire Falls" if you've ever watched someone's power crumble. The next morning brings more deserters. His men slip away like shadows at dawn, taking their loyalty and weapons with them. Staff Sergeant Vasquez's escape has become legend in the region, a story of survival that makes him look weak, incompetent. In the tribal areas where strength is everything, weakness is death, Malik Haqquani stands alone in his command room, watching American drones circle through his binoculars. His prayer beads hang limp in his pocket, no longer bringing the comfort they once did. The empire he spent years building is collapsing, all because he underestimated one wounded American woman who refused to die. Through bloodshot eyes, Malik Haqquani stares at the worn prayer beads trembling in his grip. The morning call to prayer echoes across the valley, but for the first time in decades, he doesn't rise to answer it. Instead, he barks orders into his radio, doubling the bounty on Staff Sergeant Vasquez's head to a sum that would bankrupt his entire operation. $2 million American dollars for the medic! Malik Haqquani's voice cracks with desperation. The prayer beads snap, scattering across the dusty command post floor. He doesn't bother picking them up. dead or alive. Bring me the American woman. His men exchange wary glances. 3 have already deserted in the night, taking weapons and supplies. They can smell defeat like vultures circling carrion. Malik Haqquani sees their doubt, feels his authority crumbling like the mountains around them. The distinctive whine of surveillance drones pierces the pre-dawn silence. Malik Haqquani flinches involuntarily, his hand brushing the pistol at his hip. Every night the sound grows closer, more menacing. Sleep has become impossible. He sees Vasquez's defiant eyes in his nightmares, hears her calm voice speaking Pashto to villagers who should have been loyal to him. "Commander," his lieutenant whispers, "the eastern villages, they're helping her." The man's eyes dart nervously to the door. "Our own people betray us." Malik Haqquani's fist crashes into the map table, sending markers flying. "Then burn the villages, show them the price of treachery." But even as he roars the order, he knows it's too late. His iron grip on the region is slipping like water through cupped hands. Reports filter in throughout the day, each worse than the last. A safe house discovered empty, supply caches ransacked, communication networks compromised. Malik Haqquani's empire, built over 20 brutal years, unravels in less than 7 weeks because of one American medic who refused to die. The drone's buzz becomes a constant companion, its invisible presence mocking him. Malik Haqquani catches his remaining men praying in whispers, not for victory anymore, but for survival. They've seen too many precision strikes, too many compounds reduced to rubble in the night. "She's gathering intelligence!" Malik Haqquani mutters, pacing the bunker like a caged tiger. "Every village, every route, every contact. She's mapping our entire network." The realization hits him like physical pain. This isn't just about escape anymore. Staff Sergeant Vasquez is dismantling his organization from the inside out. Type Empire falls if you've ever watched someone's power crumble. The radio crackles with the news he's dreaded for 47 days. American forces report a successful extraction near the Pakistani border. Malik Haqquani hurls the radio against the wall, but can't drown out the truth. Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez has won. Within hours, the strikes begin. Precision missiles obliterate 2 decades of carefully constructed infrastructure. Safe houses vanish in flames. Weapon caches explode. Loyal families flee. The network Malik Haqquani built through fear and violence collapses under the weight of one woman's courage and the intelligence she gathered during her impossible journey. In his final moments of freedom before the special forces breach his compound, Malik Haqquani picks up a single prayer bead from the floor. "Allah forgive me," he whispers, "for underestimating an enemy who healed instead of killed." The drone's whine reaches a crescendo as darkness claims the valley. Share this story with Haqqani Falls to show how empires built on fear always crumble. Commander Malik Haqquani stares at the prayer beads scattered across the cold concrete floor of his Pakistani prison cell, each bead a testament to his shattered empire. The same hands that once commanded armies now tremble as they attempt to gather the fragments, a futile exercise he's repeated countless times over the years. Through the barred window, the muezzin's call to prayer drifts in a bitter reminder of how far he has fallen. The American woman trains their forces now. His guard mentions during the morning meal a casual statement that sends tremors through Haqquani's weathered frame. The name Elena Vasquez isn't spoken, but it haunts every corner of his 8x10 universe. He remembers how he'd laughed when his scouts first reported a female medic leading the convoy. A woman, Commander Malik Haqquani, had sneered, polishing his rifle with the same arrogance that had defined his life. Allah has delivered us an easy victory. The memory makes his teeth clench. Now every successful mission she leads, every life she saves, every soldier she trains becomes another weight added to his burden of shame. The broken prayer beads slip through his fingers again, scattering across the floor like the pieces of his former life. "Tell me," Commander Malik Haqquani asks his son during the monthly visit, his voice barely above a whisper, "how many battalions does she command now?" The answer makes him close his eyes in pain. 3,000 troops, all trained in advanced medical evacuation techniques. His greatest mistake hadn't just survived. She'd thrived, transforming the entire battlefield doctrine of the region. The cell door's metallic clang marks the hours like a metronome of regret. Each echo reminds Commander Malik Haqquani of that day, the day he'd assumed superiority based on nothing but prejudice. "I thought I was following the old ways," he murmurs to himself, fingering the largest fragment of his prayer beads. "Instead, I was merely hiding behind them to justify my arrogance." Reports filter in through sympathetic guards. Staff Sergeant Vasquez's medical training program has expanded to multiple countries. Local women are being recruited as combat medics. The very concept he'd mocked has become a cornerstone of modern warfare in the region. Commander Malik Haqquani's legacy isn't one of victory, but of being the catalyst for change he'd fought so desperately to prevent. "What do you see when you look at these beads?" he asks a young guard one evening, holding up the broken strand. The guard shifts uncomfortably, but Haqquani continues, "I see my greatest lesson. The moment you believe someone beneath you is the moment you begin to fall." In the deepening dusk of his cell, Commander Malik Haqquani arranges the broken beads in a circle on the floor. "Allah," he whispers, "I understand now. True strength isn't in domination, but in recognizing the dignity in all your creations." The beads catch the last light of day, casting long shadows across his prison floor. A letter arrives years into his confinement. It's from her, Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez. Commander Malik Haqquani's hands shake so violently he can barely break the seal. Inside a single photograph, her graduating class of combat medics, women from every province, standing proud in their uniforms. On the back, 2 words, "Thank you." He doesn't understand at first, but as the night deepens, clarity comes. His arrogance, his attack, his underestimation, they had sparked a revolution. Not through victory, but through defeat. Commander Malik Haqquani places the photo beside his prayer beads, finally accepting his role not as a conqueror, but as an unwitting agent of change. Porton. Drop 2 if you understand the power of humility. The cell door opens for evening prayers. Commander Malik Haqquani rises slowly, leaving the broken beads arranged in their circle. Sometimes he speaks to the gathering darkness. Allah's greatest lessons come through our greatest failures. The door clangs shut, its echo carrying the weight of truth, learned too late. Share this story if you believe every defeat can seed a greater victory.